ball. Stretch, stretch, stretch. You can put it on the board. Yes!
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster, Sal. Today's show is brought to you by Cali Vegas, helping people just like you create and host your very own radio, TV, or multimedia talk show. Cali Vegas can help you with everything you need to get out of sitting in hours of traffic like you're doing right now and host your very own talk show in your very own studio. Call Cali Vegas right now at 949-445-1119. That's 949-445-1119. Again, 949-445-1119, or visit them at CaliVegas.com. That's C-A-L-I Vegas.com, and tell them the circus sent you. Also, a big welcome to everybody listening in on iHeartRadio and our CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates from coast to coast. Yeah, there's a lot of talk about basketball and hockey right now, but I want to turn my attention, at least for the first segment, to football, to the combine as we know it. And Ben, have you been paying attention to anything going on with this combine by chance?
Not really. I haven't heard much. I heard one guy did 34 reps at bench, so that's a lot.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that the combine has a ton of value, or is it sort of a cat show for players?
Oh, it's definitely the latter, I would say. I mean, that's why the best players don't even go to do it, because they're above that.
Yeah, I would agree. And see, when I look at this combine, I say, okay, here are these guys, these players that are showing off basically for some kind of a glorified job fair. I wouldn't even say it's a job interview. It's like a job fair, with all the NFL teams being the employers, and then there are prospective employees that are trying to show off and this and that, whatever, which is great. They're trying to show their skills, but remember, their careers, actual game time, fully suited with all pads, that is the video interview. It's not necessarily what you can do in a combine when you're not in full dress. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're definitely in a different position doing what they do for a living. So it's kind of one of those things, like you said, it's a video interview that your future employer is going to have and look back on. They've got it, all on tape to go, look, this is how he cuts. This is his tendency off the break, this and that,
Right, and that is actual game reps. That is not something where they're not in full dress, or where they are in full dress, I should say. But the combine, it's basically, look, you're running around in a track suit, so to say, or track spikes. And
it's very awkward.
Yeah, it's very awkward, because here you've got certain players will run incredible speeds, and they'll have big verticals and this and that. Well, guess what? They need to do these combines in full dress, so the teams actually can measure what they're doing fully suited with all the equipment on, instead of without anything on, because it doesn't really add a ton of value. And sure, you take a guy like Tyree Jackson, who's a hell of a quarterback, a big kid, 6'7" quarterback out of the University of Buffalo. And right there in our listening audience up on WLVL, Fox Sports, 105.3 FM and 1340 AM. Those players like Tyree Jackson is a monster, and he's got a huge speed at 4.59, big vertical at 34 and a half. But I want all these players to do this suited up, because it makes a lot more sense. And I saw an interview with Tyree Jackson. He's a good kid. But here's the thing. You're going to ask him loaded questions, and the loaded questions are going to give slanted answers. We know that. And so he really can't give his real opinion on something, because he's got all the ears of the world listening, and then all the eyes of the world are watching his combine efforts without pads, and it leaves that reasoning. It's kind of like the missing link, right? From the science world.
Harry and the Hendersons?
Yes, it's the missing link. And so the problem is that we don't really know what Tyree is going to do in full gear in NFL reps.
True. I think they should really just scrap the whole combine as it is and do something more fun with it. Have these guys do Ninja Warrior stuff. Have them play paintball.
Yes.
Something. I don't know. Carry a sack of potatoes up a 30-foot skyscraper. I don't know. Try to traverse something. Something that's actually watchable and may translate just as well to their athleticism.
Right. It just can't be anything that where they could potentially get hurt, right? Because that would be a very big problem.
True.
Right. So it has to be something. So who knows? Maybe they could just go bowling. The fact is, like, they already have plenty of video on these kids. They already know what they can do, what they're capable of. Is Kyler Murray going to be the number one pick? I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. What do you think?
It's hard to say. I mean, that's what it's leaning towards from everything you hear. So, but it's always a mystery. You never know. You really just don't.
And everybody was asking the same question about Carson Wentz when he came up, just a couple of years ago. And Wentz was the real deal. I don't know. I mean, does anybody really know if these kids are NFL ready? You could come out of a system that is complementary or very similar to what the NFL offers. And even though the fact that he works out with, yeah, exactly. Get rid of the combine. You're out of here. Folks, we're going to be back here with Dan Hughes from the WNBA, coach of the Seattle Storm, in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come. There's the combine. And away it goes.
Hey, this is Tommy John, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
There's a long ball. Stretch. You can put it on the board. Yes.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal here with Bill Clement. We have special guests Robert F. Kennedy Jr.,
Billionaire Jeff Hoffman,
Mike Golick, Tom Flores,
John Stockton,
David Meltzer, Jim Tunney,
Roger Craig,
Andre Reed,
Mario Andretti,
Herschel Walker,
Blake Firestone,
Eric Dickerson,
Mike Haynes,
Kevin Green,
Brian Urlacher,
Jim Jeffcoat,
Rod Jaworski,
Al Bubba Baker,
Steve Carby,
Brett Saberhagen,
Jack McDowell,
Danny McClain, Yank Barry, Grant Fuhrer,
Paul Dvorsky,
President of the Vegas Golden Knights, George McPhee,
Len Komoroski, CEO of Cavaliers,
Blake Brady, Mickey Suda,
Art Steele,
Tom Beebe,
Ken Solomon,
Tom Dreesen,
Pat O'Connor, Alan Glist, 43 Tony Awards,
Mike Crawford, President and CEO of the Hall of Fame,
Louis Viola, President, Paramount Famous Production, Universal Worldwide Home Entertainment, Universal Studios Home Entertainment,
Glenn Berman, Randy Fun,
Professor Dr. Tommy John, Dave Robertson, Pat Williams, Brandon Schneider, Henry Bibby,
Mike Bibby,
Tim Donaghy,
Dan Hughes,
Marcus Johnson,
George Lynn,
Larry Sanders, Steve Berlander,
Dr. Jen Welter,
Steve Ladder,
Craig Colquitt,
Paul Shortino,
My life is just a party and parties weren't meant to last. Dickerson,
Jason Hook, guitar player for Five Finger Death Punch,
Craig Bartok, lead guitar player, songwriter for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band Heart.
Sidney Justin from the Miracles.
My name is Curtis Blow. Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court. I'm here on the Sports Circus.
Vinny from the Bronx Wanderers.
Mark Schulman, drummer for Pink, Cher, Velvet Revolver, TV Nicks, Sheryl Crow, Simple Mind, Richard Mark,
Aaron Fink, Breaking Benjamin. Jason Hartless, drummer for rock legend Ted Nugent.
Matt Starr, drummer for Ace Frehley from Kiss,
Rockstar, Todd Kearns,
Phil Buckman, the bass player in the rock band Fuel,
Dave Laurie,
Neil Donnell from the band Chicago.
This is Brad Gillis from the band Night Ranger. And
Philip Bailey, 8-time Grammy Award winner,
The reason that we're here.
top 100 greatest drummers of all time,
Kenny Aronoff with John Fogerty, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, and Elton John, Stevie Wonder, David Grohl, Joe Walsh, John Mellencamp.
John Deddy, drummer for Slayer, Anthrax, Testament, Volbeat.
Mitch Malloy, I'm the lead singer of Great White.
Pete Thorne with Chris Cornell. Melissa Etheridge.
Rob Mount, drums with Lou Graham.
Philip Schaus. I play guitar with Accept. I play bass guitar for Ace Frehley.
Todd Morris from The Offspring.
Ty Dennis, The Doors.
Eric Aldenius, I'm from Bill Adams.
Red Jones, bass player for Vontae. Still Hart, Fuel. Michael Schenker Group.
This is Josie Scott from Josie Scott's Saliva.
Adam Curry of Candlebox.
Marky Mark with Foundry Rocks.
Brian Trock.
Travis Cormier, Scotty McClellan,
4-time Grammy Award winner,
Chris Christian, Jay Ramsey,
Heidi Merrill,
Vince Van Patten,
Clinton. Daniel Negreanu. Greg Fossilman Raymer.
Billy Hayes. Foz Davis.
CJ Watson.
Rashad Phillips.
Dr. Kristen Willemeyer.
NASA astronauts. Mike Mullane. Anthony Davis. George Stark. Dwayne Starks. Brian Mitchell.
Rick Upchurch.
Willie Rofe.
Jim Fossil.
Dwayne Clemens.
Eddie Meter. Chief Schrader. Pepper Johnson.
Andre Bad Moon, a.k.a. Rise.
Brian Jordan.
Bill Romanowski.
Dwight Hicks.
Jason McKee.
Michael Keller.
Fred Mitchell.
Marty Appel.
Tim Brando.
Tom Brenneman.
Barry Katz.
Brad Williams.
Dennis Blair.
Arthur Sarkisian.
Dean Edwards.
Emmett Short. Jason Acevedo.
It's Christina Smith.
Bruce Nahan. Lee Haney. Rick Barry. Cowboy Ninja. Lance Pekas. Andrew Williams.
Don Most here.
Kevin Sorbo here.
Yes.
Dr. Peter McCullough.
Damian Jackson, ex-Navy SEAL.
Margaret Carey. Tinkerbell.
Stephanie Stuckey, CEO of Stuckey's Corporation.
Christopher Lowen, founder, Marijuana Inc., Medical Marijuana Inc., Hemp Inc.
Glenn Gardone, president of Red Chocolate.
Ronnie Nunn.
Belgie Henderson.
Jack Llewellyn, board psychologist.
Susie Hellmaker.
Alexander Bardot Pinto.
Bill O'Brien.
Brad Server, grandson of Curly Howard from the Three Stooges.
Rob Ryder.
Chris Kemper.
Aaron Rowan. Greg Olson.
Art Kushner.
Jose Rio in the house.
Kurt Bavacqua here.
Greg Olson.
Matt Joyce. Jim Laird.
Mike Hollis.
Brad Coleman.
Burst. Santana Moss.
Vance Johnson.
Donnie Shale.
Mark Collins.
Randy Grimes.
Larry Bubber. Cole.
Larry Foote, defensive coordinator with Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Jared Bunch.
Eddie Burry.
Wesley Woodyard.
Dexter Irvin. Colin Fraser. Andrew Ladd.
Justin Penner.
Dave Jackson, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey.
Brian Killingsworth.
Bart Oates. Don Horn. Ryan McNeil.
Von Kirkland.
Chucky Okobe.
Jackie Sherrill. Eddie Meter.
EJ Speed.
Jesse Woodsy. Dave Merhar.
Steve Todd. Bob Grant.
Dan Pastorini. Mark Fleming. Brad Hopkins.
Lee Steinberg.
Steve Watson.
Dan Vincent.
Mitzi Dolan.
Karen Laurie.
Bo Campbell.
Len Elmore.
Mark Eaton from the Utah Jazz.
Charles Smith.
Rich Cho.
Chucky Brown. Aubrey Hunt.
Chuck Joe.
John Nyland.
Randy Van Slyke.
Matt Starr. Dr. George Gauthier.
Terry Sher.
Jesse Sapolo. Dana Stubblefield.
Jeff Brago. Jeff Jager.
Gino Toretta. Jim O'Brien. Kerry Justin. JT Thompson. Jim Everett. John McLaren.
Brad Boone.
Mel Stottlemyre.
Alan Massengale. Vantico Dolphin. Kurt Sandoval.
Matt Gresham.
Bailey Brom. Leonard Marshall. Gary Reasons.
Doug Plank.
Walt Harris.
Everson Walls.
Jim McNally. Shemmy Schembeckler.
Kurt Walker.
Leroy Irvin.
Icky Wood. Tyrone Poole.
Alicia Thompson. Chris Stuhonker. Scott Petrick. Bruce Crampton. Butch Baird. Joe Koff. Kristen Rhodes.
John Jusco.
Mayor Carolyn Goodman.
John Lee, Mayor of North Las Vegas.
Amy Wilson.
Nick Mackay. Voice of Salem Saberhagen. The talking cat from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
The father of the first family of drag racing.
John Ford.
Ricky Stidhouse.
Ben Brost, the voice of stock car racing.
Robbie Wells, seeking the Democratic nomination for President of the United States.
Jim Strasser, founder and CEO of Cali Strong, the California Sports Company. CEO of LA Gear, Nike, Oakley, Quicksilver, owner partners of Converse.
Greg Pryor.
Shea Hillebrand.
Carl McDowell. Jamie Baker.
Carlos Munoz. Darius Kasparaitis.
Dominic Rousseau.
Earl Christie.
Emery Moorhead.
Kyle Turley.
Dave Robinson. Gus Perot.
Jeff Bryant.
Leroy Irvin. Eric Hipple.
Mike Kaminsky.
Matt Doherty.
Greg Kite.
Dan Clark. Nitro. American Gladiator.
Manny Sanguian.
Mon Guino.
Emery Moorhead.
Ricky Ellis. Tyree Washington.
Vince Workman.
Brett Lashbrook.
Chesty LaRue. Scotty Graham. John Robinson. Chris Dishman. Gary Robinson. Catcher Bill.
Steve Sachs.
Ward Brewster.
Randy Barnes.
Anastasia Valentine. Zero Levitz. Big Theo Ratliff.
Dr. Edwards.
Adrian Goodson.
Cedric Tony.
Ricky Pierce. James Donaldson.
Rusty Spindell. Carl Mecklenburg. Mark Carrier.
Toy Cook.
Mercury Morris.
Eric Davis. Thomas Hollywood. Henderson.
Harold Jackson.
Chris Lacey.
I'm Eric Bigger.
Dennis Rappaport.
Rich Murata.
Steve Lott.
Michelle Corrales-Lewis.
Brace. The Beast. Aleem.
Joe Cortez. Mark Catholic. Christopher.
Caleb Sweethands Plant.
Bronco Billy Ride.
My name is Curtis Blow. Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court. I'm here on the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. This segment is brought to you by the American Business Trust Company, helping your company with business strategy, sales and marketing, capital resources, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea. The American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. Visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's ABTRUSTCO, abtrustco.com. The American Business Trust Company can help your business right away. Also, a big welcome to everybody listening in on iHeartRadio and our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. And, folks, we have a special guest joining us, the current head coach for the Seattle Storm. That would be the world champion Seattle Storm, Dan Hughes. Thanks for joining us, Dan.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
All right. Yeah, we have a picture on the social media of you hoisting your trophy, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, that's very nice, actually. Yeah.
Always nice to hoist a trophy, right?
Yep.
I mean, think about that. In all of professional sports, I don't care, even if it's amateur sports, to have the ability to hoist a trophy and say, you hit the end of the road, you did it, you won, that's great. Did you go to Disneyland afterwards?
No, I am part of the USA basketball staff, and we had the World Cup. And so I traveled with 3 of my players about 48 hours later to the medal round in Tenerife, Canary Islands, Spain, and became part of that group that won the gold there. So, no, there was pretty much like done with one, we got to head out and win another.
Yeah, Disneyland can wait. You're going to the Canaries.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, but it was joyous. It was a pretty good month.
Yeah, I bet. So you got to hoist a trophy over there too.
Yeah.
That's
exciting.
Exciting.
That was a great experience. And to do it with 3 of our players, Sue Bird, Breonna Stewart, Jewel Lloyd, all went with me, and all played pivotal parts in USA basketball. So yeah, that was a special treat.
Right. Well, Sue Bird's been in the league for 15 years now, hasn't she?
Yeah. I'll tell you, she had about as good a year last year as any year she's had, certainly in the last decade, I think. And just an amazing preparer of mentally and physically. She works every day to put herself in the right spot. She's really a study of, I look at Tom Brady and I look at her, are 2 incredible examples of how to continue to be a veteran and get your body and get your mind ready. I mean, those 2 are like off the charts in my mind.
Right. So when Sue goes about her business, do you just kind of sit back and watch and say, do your thing, you're the point guard, you're the quarterback on our team, just like the Tom Brady, so to say, and just let her, and are you just watching it saying, wow, here's a 3-time champion. I mean, she has certainly run the gamut with the Seattle Storm, winning all 3 with the Storm, and obviously with a couple of people that are associated with the Sports Circus as well. Alicia Thompson is our WNBA correspondent for the show, and also working with us is Janelle Burse, a couple of fine ladies that you know as well, that were teammates of Sue's in the past.
Yeah, when you've got someone with a mind like Sue Bird, you want, as a coach, you want to enable her. You want to enable her to be not only the physical presence that she is the best passer I've ever seen, men or women, the best. But you want to enable her leadership. You want to put her in a situation where that's part of your package, because it's just not very often you get somebody with those kinds of experiences and those kind of drive and those kind of leadership qualities. You would be wrong not to put her out in front and let her be a part of the culture that you have with the team.
Right. I mean, look, she's been a 5-time Russian champion, a 3-time WNBA champion. She's won everywhere, 11-time All-Star, and to have basically the Tom Brady of the WNBA on your club, that certainly helps, because I would imagine from a leadership standpoint, I mean, you already have a fine leader on the court. So that really helps you, I would imagine, on your game-to-game management of the game, does it not?
Oh, it does. I've always been a coach that probably gives point guards more freedom than they've ever experienced. It's part of my makeup. I'm attracted, first of all, to point guards that think the game well. That's the kind of point guard I want to give the ball to.
Mm-hmm.
But in Sue's case, it even takes it another stretch. It's a matter of her being able to, on the floor. When you talk about leadership, and from a coaching standpoint, it's one thing for me to be a leader. That's important. But what's more powerful is that I develop leaders.
Right.
And you've got one right here with the ball in her hand. And that is the most immediate impact you can put on a basketball team, is somebody with the ball who can make the type of decisions that allows a coach like me to sleep well at night, which is really, really appreciated, because she is that good at understanding the game.
Well, you get to empower the players that really deserve it. And I mean, she's won everywhere she's been, period. And the fact that you have a superstar on the court, it certainly helps everybody else. But the idea that, look, you can't be on the court with the ball, but you've got another version of you on the court with the ball. I mean, what could be better?
Oh, absolutely. No, when you talk about the reach that a coach has, I think it's important that you empower your assistant. But when you have a player that can carry that reach onto the court, now you've really got something. Now you really have something. And that's why you want to enable a player like that. You want her to be able to, where she's at in her career, that be a part of her package. Because she spent a lot of years and invested a lot of time, and still does, at working to that field of excellence. And you want to enable that, because all it does is just put your team in a better position.
Right. Hey, you should have brought her on the show with you. Maybe next time you come back, you can. Why not, right?
Yeah, she works for the Denver Nuggets in the off season. So she's training for next year. I just saw her work out last week. She looks really good, but she's also spending time with the Nuggets. Mm-hmm. And so she's out and about getting ready.
She's remarkably busy. She's kind of like your Magic Johnson on the court.
Oh, absolutely. And, how lucky am I? Part of the reason I've coached so many games in the WNBA and still coaching and doing all that was I had Becky Hammond for 8 years in San Antonio, and I believe she'll be the first NBA coach. I had Dawn Staley as my first point guard, who is now the Olympic coach, as well as won a national championship with South Carolina. I had Susie McConnell-Serio, which is an incredible coach. I had Jen Rosati. I had Helen Darling. I've just had a slew of point guards that would make any coach happy to have them running your club. And so that's been the blessing of my career.
Okay, well, Dan, how much say when it comes to scouting players, and we talked a little bit before the segment, how much say do you have in scouting players like, hey, I want that superstar woman on my team? How do we go about that in the WNBA?
Well, it varies. I went through a lot of years where I was the GM and the head coach in San Antonio. So, you're basically talking to yourself in that situation.
Right.
Other places I've been, you work in unison with I work with Alicia Valavanis in Seattle. She's really good. But when I came back, I had stepped away from the game. For me to come back to the game, I just wanted to coach. And obviously, I think whenever there's a tandem, a GM and a head coach who are on the same page, then you kind of see it in the chemistry of the team. And so, Alicia and I talk a lot, and I've been in other places where I was really fortunate. When I started my gig in the WNBA, I had Bob Bass, who was the GM for the Charlotte Hornets, and he was technically the general manager. But, I worked with him and was able to I went to Cleveland. I worked with Jim Paxson, who was the Cavaliers GM, and back in the early days of the WNBA, they would take the GM from the NBA side, and they'd put him also over the WNBA side.
Got it.
And I just really was able to really enjoy those situations. You know, they allowed me to do my job, but they also allowed me to learn from the NBA side. Mm-hmm. And I love that. So it's a teamwork thing. You know, you do the legwork. I'm a big film watcher, and everybody knows that. I watch unbelievable amounts of tape and that type of thing. But you learn to create a chemistry just like you ask on your team. You know, if you're a team made up of chemistry, those players are going to look and see how does that coach work with the GM? How does that coach work with his assistant? How does that coach work with the training staff?
Hey, Dan.
You know, and if they see chemistry, there's a pretty good chance they're going to look at their teammates and bring out the same things we do.
All right. Hey, Dan, hold that thought. We're going to carry you over the next segment. Folks, we're going to open the phone lines as well. 844-305-7800, 844-305-7800. Maybe somebody out there wants to ask Dan Hughes, world champion coach of the Seattle Storm, a question. Folks, we'll be back here in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come.
I'm your Ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-296-1209. 800-296-1209. That's 800-296-1209.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
If you served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 800-335-7196. 800-335-7196. That's 800-335-7196. Paid for by Legal Alert Line.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. How do you not love that music? I'm Tom Brenneman.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. This segment is brought to you by Legal Shield, providing legal protection and peace of mind for less than $1 a day. Legal Shield can help with traffic tickets, texting and driving, DUIs, court appearances, estate planning, contracts given to you that you don't understand, or maybe you're on the basketball court and you got your ankles broken and you need a lawyer. At nocourt.us. That's nocourt.us, and tell them the circus sent you. Also, a big welcome to everybody listening in on iHeartRadio and our CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates from coast to coast, including our friends over in Honolulu on KHKA, CBS Sports 1500 in sunny Southern California, NBC News, CNBC Financial, and NBC Sports, KCAA, 106.5 FM, 102.3 FM, at 1050 AM, right here in Las Vegas, KSHB 1400, home of your Arizona Diamondbacks. In Chicago, WCGO 1590, our Westwood One News affiliate. In Southern Alabama and the Florida Panhandle, WIRB Top 1490. And, of course, on the New York Yankees Radio Network, 1340 and 105.3 FM, our Fox Sports affiliate. WLVL cover the greater Buffalo and Toronto markets, and a bunch others that I just don't have time to get to. All right, folks, we're continuing on with our WNBA champion coach from the Seattle Storm, Dan Hughes. And, Dan, we also brought in a caller or two, and this was kind of a neat story. So we had the Nevada State High School Championships right here in Las Vegas. It was on Saturday, and I just stumbled in after a chance meeting that I'd actually be in the building, and sure enough, I sat and I watched a couple of good games, and one of them was the girls Nevada State 2A State Championship, and it was White Pine High School from Ely, Nevada, against another club, Incline, out of Incline Village in the Reno, Tahoe area as well. And so I sat at center court watching this really fun game. It got off to a slow start, really slow start. And then they picked it up, and the defense was smothering. The point guard play was fantastic. Block shots, all kinds of mayhem. And so I said, after the game was over and White Pine just blew away Incline, I had to meet Justin Locke, who was the coach of White Pine High School, and I wanted him to bring one of his star players, which is Eva Kingston. And so, Dan, that's who's joining us right now. And everybody say hello.
Well, congratulations, guys. That's wonderful.
Justin, you there?
We appreciate it, Dan. This is Justin Locke, coach of the White Pine High School Lady Cat. It was our program's had some success over the last 5 years. We've won state 4 out of the last 5, which I've been the head coach for the last 2. Eva Kingston, my point guard there. I heard Dan talking about having Sue Bird as a leader and point guard play. That's what Eva Kingston brings. She's been on my team as she's only a sophomore this year, but she led us to our state championship last year as a freshman point guard as well.
Well, that's just amazing. You know, I started as a high school coach, and Coach, I genuinely tell people that I think the best teachers of our game are at the high school level. So I congratulate you and Eva, and it's just a pleasure to talk.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, and I mean, my coaching philosophy is about teaching life lessons to these young women and making them great citizens of this country we live in. I just one of the first questions I have for you is, what is your coaching philosophy through your years?
Well, I think it's kind of developed because I started as a high school coach, you know, and I spent half of my career coaching men. I started with men. I'd coached Division III. I went to Division I. I ended up moving to the women's side and then got into the WNBA when it started. But for me, it's about developing a culture of that it exemplifies chemistry. It exemplifies character. You know, I think we all kind of get to points in our life, especially as coaches, where we got to make some tough decisions. And what I have found is that if I have people around me of character, if I have people around me of persistence, we kind of make those things work. And so my teams have been very high chemistry teams. very much a family atmosphere, very much the ball moves from side to side, inside and out. We try to play both ends. We coach the players, whether you're Sue Bird or Brianna Stewart or Jewel Lloyd, or whether you're my 12th player. We coach everybody with the same kind of vigor. And we all have roles, and we understand those roles contribute to who we are. And that's probably embodied, my career. And I've been fortunate to have been around some incredible players, and that kind of keeps us in coaching coaches. So that's kind of my background.
Well, I'd like to bring Eva on and let her talk and ask a question to you as well.
Absolutely.
I'm in Kingston, and me being a sophomore, I was just wondering your opinion on what separates good athletes from elite athletes.
Elite athletes kind of take care of business, Eva, on the court and off the court. Let me talk to you about that a little bit. I've been a college recruiter. I make decisions on players that I like coming out of college. Players that take care of business. In your situation, you're a sophomore. What you do in the classroom is going to determine the options that you may have. Your basketball talent, that's very important. I understand that. But if you're taking care of business in the classroom, if you're gaining respect of people that you meet in your school, if you're walking through life in a way that you give people energy, those things matter. They matter if you want to be elite. And you realize you're doing that every day of your life. Brianna Stewart's in Russia playing right now, but I guarantee you today she did something to make herself a better basketball player. Sue Bird, I'm not sure where Sue is. I was with her in Seattle last week, but I guarantee you somewhere today she's doing something to make herself a better basketball player. But along the way, they're both incredible teammates. They're making sure that they kind of carry themselves in a way that gives energy to people that they are with. Those are the things that I think separates elite from average. And it's got to do with off the court as well as on the court.
Yes, I think that's incredible input. And look, and I speak as a college recruiter, which I've been doing for 19 years. I'm an academic recruiter. I'm not an athletic recruiter. So as an academic recruiter, I look at these students as not only can you do something incredible in the classroom. We already know that. If I've gotten to you, that means that, look, you've already passed the first hurdle as a good student, but now I want to know what you do outside the classroom that makes you a good human to the balance of your peers and to the community. And I think a lot of that, Dan, goes hand in hand with your leadership on the court and with your team.
It sure does. It's about culture. Culture, you don't turn it on and off. If you do, then you're probably not real. But I'll tell you right now, I was recruiting men. I walked into an inner city school in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I come in, and there happened to be a security guard right there. And I said, I'm looking for Robert Kaiser. And this guy grabbed me and said, listen, let me tell you about Robert Kaiser. And he went through 5 or 6 things that this young man did that speak to what you're talking about how he was unselfish, about how he took care of business and how he treated his teammates. And so I meet Robert, and I do all that, and I go back to the I'm driving back to the university I was at. The head coach calls me, and he said, listen, we got one scholarship. What do you think we should do? And I'm like, give it to Robert. And we gave it to him. He came to school. He ended up being the defensive player of the MAC, all those kinds of things. But if you don't think that security guard taking the time to tell me what kind of human being Robert was, you're wrong. That had a huge impression on me because I didn't ask for it, but yet he's telling me what kind of person this is. And this is somebody you want to get in a foxhole with. You know, when
Right.
you got to go win, you want to be with people like that.
Right. And the reason I bring that up for Eva, look, Eva, pretty soon you're going to be applying to colleges, or you probably already looked at some. You already have an idea of which direction you're going to go. But remember, what you do off the court and what you do for other people is equally measured as to what you do in the classroom on a day-to-day basis or on the court with your peers. Now, Eva, I want to hold you and Coach Locke over along with Dan for the next segment. Coach Hughes, everybody can stick around with me. Just say yes or no.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we're going to be back here in just a few minutes on the Sports Circus. Lots more to cover. And here with world champion coach Dan Hughes from the Seattle Storm, and also a couple of special guests from Ely, Nevada. That would be Eva Kingston, star point guard for White Pines, and her coach, Justin Locke. Back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come.
Hello Americans, it's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time, that's 800-950-2049.
If you have diabetes, listen up. If you have insurance, you can qualify for a continuous glucose monitor. With a CGM, you can continuously track your levels and trends and spend more time in range, significantly lowering your A1C. More importantly, a CGM eliminates the one thing most people with diabetes hate: painful finger sticks. Order your new continuous glucose monitor today. If you use insulin and if you've seen your diabetes care provider within the last 6 months, you may qualify for your own CGM right now. We'll do all the insurance paperwork and deliver your new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. Medicare and most insurances will cover your CGM, so don't wait. Have your insurance handy and call the Aptiva Medical CGM Health Hotline right now.
800-320-2751. 800-320-2751. 800-320-2751. That's 800-320-2751.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UppercutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UppercutChops.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Mike Cheminsky here.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. Make sure you check us out at thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guest and our podcast, and also check out our team, who's involved with the team. In fact, one of our team members is Alicia Thompson, WNBA champion from the Seattle Storm. And make sure you also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. On Facebook, we are under Sal Circus. Of course, you could search The Sports Circus. And also on Twitter, you could follow us at The Sports Circus as well. All right, and folks, a big welcome to everybody listening in on iHeartRadio and our CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates from coast to coast. Here with special guest Dan Hughes, champion coach from the WNBA Seattle Storm. Welcome back, Dan. And also we have another couple of special guests that just joined us, and we have the head basketball coach for the White Pines High School, Nevada State 2A champions. That's in Ely, Nevada, as well as Eva Kingston, star point guard of the Lady Cats. Thanks for everyone joining me again.
Our pleasure.
Okay.
Of course. Yeah.
All right. So let's get real quick into it. We have a short segment here. Now, Eva, do you have another question for Coach Hughes?
I'm wondering, because we use this a lot, is screen and roll offense still very powerful at the pro level?
Very, very, very powerful, and I think it's becoming more and more a part of, as a shot clock. We have a 24-second shot clock. You watch the NBA game. Absolutely, I absolutely love people that can execute the pick and roll, make the right play, and I don't see it going anywhere but up. I think it's one of those plays that, especially on the women's side, the game just gets more and more athletic. So you're coming off those screens at different speeds, and the ability to make plays with your post players and shoot the three now. It's a big part of it, and that's something that you really want to concentrate on developing, because I think it's going to become even a greater part of college in the future.
All right, Justin, go ahead and get one more question in for Coach Hughes.
Yeah, I'm 33, and I grew up in this community we live in, and I always thought I'd come back and coach the boys, but what the opportunity wasn't there, and I've been with the girls program for about the last 7 years, and as the head coach for 2 now. But I wonder just what advice you have for a young coach. You've coached girls at, it seemed like, every level, how to deal with the emotions from them sometimes, because I'm more of a, I want to fix everything as a man wants to do, and sometimes sit back. I just wonder what kind of advice you may have for a coach in my position.
Well, I coached boys basically in the high school level, and I spent most of my college years with men. And my experience with coaching women have been 1 year at the college level and almost 19 years at the pro level. But to me, it's about coaching players. People, I often get asked the difference between men and women and that type of thing, and there's much more similarities than there are differences. To me, it's about coaching players, and it's about your ability to put them in situations, where they can be successful not only on the court but in life. And communication's important. I think one of the things I've appreciated about coaching in the WNBA and coaching women is that their communication is very important to them. They look at their verbal at a higher degree. Teams are teams, and some learn by. I always try to figure out how they learn, but to me, doing a good job of communicating at whatever level you are about what your expectations are, about how you want them to be quality people, and walking a walk that demonstrates that. Because you can talk to your blue, but if they see you kind of walking a walk of maturity and walking a walk of communication, they're probably going to think, well, that I can be like that. And that's all I would encourage you to do, is to young people go through ups and downs and those type of things, but I think a stable force, somebody delivering the same message time and time again, somebody who cares about them in ways that is more than their talents on the court. It's that they put together a package of a student athlete. Those are all the things that I think go a long way to creating a relationship, a player-coach relationship. And that's what it's about to me. It's never about coaching women. It's never about coaching men. It's about coaching players and coaching people to their best and trying to get them in their sweet spot, not only on the court, but in life, caring about, I have an awful lot of players that are coaching now and caring about them getting into their careers and caring about them. It goes a long way in developing some really good player-coach relationships.
All right. So listen, Dan, we have just a couple of minutes left, and I want to hear in 1 minute the most unusual thing that's happened to you during a live game that you could have never predicted would have happened, and how'd you handle it?
I had one last year. I'll give it to you. There was a play. We were playing in Dallas. It was the second quarter. There was a play where one of the players, her name was Kayla Thorpe, plays for Dallas, went for a loose ball over by our bench. So she goes, it's the loose ball. She saved it, but we got it, and we're going down the floor. So my head is turned to the other end, watching us in our fast break. Well, Kayla gets up, and she's literally on our bench, and she's off the court. She starts to run up the floor, and she doesn't see me, and absolutely runs me over. I mean, just flattens me. Now I'm looking at the other end, so I don't even see her. It's one of those deals where you don't brace. And Kayla is a strong person, and she just knocked right to the ground. And she's such a quality person. She even paused for a second. Coach, you all right? But knocked the wind out of me. So here I am on the sideline, on the ground. The players come running over. The officials come running over. I'm trying to get my breath back. I think I'm okay, but
and you're not even on the court.
I've taken a pretty good hit, and I wasn't even on the court.
Right.
But anyway, they checked me out. I came back. I coached the rest of the game. We won the game. They sent me to the hospital, and I cracked a rib when I took the hit, but I was fine. I was basically fine, But that's the most unusual thing, I think, and I've been coaching almost 40 years. So.
Wow. That's a great story. I'll even give you an applause for shaking off the cracked rib and staying in the game for coaching. Wow.
Yeah. But it was, and what I remember is how concerned she was for me. I mean, God bless her. She was concerned. What did I do to coach here? But I was fine. I was fine.
That's great. Hey, Coach, let me ask you real quick. Dan, how do people follow you and the Seattle Storm? Because the season's not too far away here. How can everybody follow the club and follow you?
Go to seattlestorm.com. seattlestorm.com. And go on the website. They do a great job. They, sign up for information. Social media is very powerful. They do a great job. They kind of follow me around, different things. I do some broadcasting. I'm going to be in Vegas for a week doing. I'm going to broadcast the West Coast Conference. I'm going to broadcast the WAC Conference for ESPN. I'm going to watch my son play. It's Thomas Mack. He plays for University of United States Air Force Academy in the Mountain West. So
excellent.
We kind of keep it up on the website. I'd go there, and you can also find out about Breonna Stewart and Jewel Lloyd, Sue Bird, and Alicia Clark, and Natasha Howard, and all the Seattle Storm players.
All right. A big welcome, or a big thank you, I should say, for joining us, Dan Hughes, world champion coach, Seattle Storm, and also a big thank you to Eva Kingston, star point guard at White Pines High School, along with Coach Justin Locke. Thanks for joining us today here on the Sports Circus. I got to tell you, really good segments, and it's great for the people to hear something a little bit different. I appreciate everybody joining us today, and thanks for taking all your time. And we're out of time here on the Circus. So for everybody that I just mentioned, I'm your Ringmaster, Sal, and we'll see you next time right here on your... Attention business owners. You and your customers are listening to this commercial right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935. Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
My favorite one had to do with the Green Bay Packers. And I love the fact that they dealt off Ty Montgomery because of a blown assignment. Green Bay isn't Green Bay unless they have a good running game. Then they can win 10 Super Bowls. The fact is, you don't have a running game. You've got 70% passing, and that's not where Aaron Rodgers needs to be. He needs to be in a position where he's got a running game to offset the passing game and so forth. I like the move. Green Bay didn't have a running game anyway, so all they're doing is saying, we're going to get rid of you because you don't follow instructions.
Well, he made one of the most boneheaded plays I've ever seen. There's 2 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock. They traded him on Tuesday.
They should have cut him on Sunday night.
He shouldn't have been on the plane back to Green Bay.
Right, they should have made him walk back to Green Bay.
No, it was a terrible play. Now, he's not a stupid guy. He went to Stanford.
Really?
He's not a dumb guy.
He's not a dumb guy, but he doesn't follow instructions.
He made a terrible play.
The fact is he didn't follow instructions. And you say he's not a dumb guy. His own agenda he put ahead of his team.
I agree.
Thus, he is a dumb guy. Right or wrong?
Wrong. He just got selfish. You're not going to convince me that a guy from Stanford's a dum-dum.
No!
Yeah, this is Sidney Justin from the Miracles.
So you heard yesterday's show at Roy Firestone. Didn't you hear a little clip about him going into the office where Smokey was at? That was really good material, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really funny, man.
Yeah, and then you heard him.
I thought it was hilarious. It was cool, though. It was cool. Really cool story, man. I enjoyed listening to that.
Right, and then he gave a couple of bars. Can you give us a couple of more from Ooh Baby Baby? And let's see if you could do it better than Roy Firestone. Come on, man!
All right, you know what? Why not? I did you wrong. My heart ran out to play. But in the game, I lost you. What a price to pay. Hey, I'm crying. Ooh, baby, baby. How's that, man?
That's
Is that okay? Is that good enough?
That's incredible.
That's fantastic.
You know why? Because that's what you do. You're in the incredible business, Sid. That's awesome. Yes! Only at the Sports Circus. You're going to get sports? You get music? That's ridiculous.